Hi, it's Trisha Johnston, residential realtor with Ladder and Bloom with your real estate tip of the week. When a natural disaster occurs, there are people available who are great resources and can help guide you and advise you in their areas of expertise. First and foremost is your insurance agent. Your agent may know about coverages that you have that your insurance adjuster isn't aware of. You may have coverages for things like evacuation expenses, loss of use of the property, food spoilage. For a rental property, in addition to property damage, you may have loss of rental income coverage. So have a conversation with your insurance agent and they can help you know what coverage you have and how to file claims on that. It's very important that you keep receipts and take lots of photos, not only for insurance purposes, but also when it's time to file your taxes, your CPA can let you know what losses are deductible for both your primary residence and rental property that you didn't get reimbursed for. A realtor can also help you during this time. If you have a damaged property, the realtor can let you know what your property could sell for as is and what it could sell for if you repair it. Then you can make the best financial decision for yourself. If you have a property under contract, your realtor can let you know what additional steps need to be taken to get that property closed as soon as possible. And finally, if a property has flood insurance on it, it's very important that that policy get transferred to the buyer if it's transferable, because if a buyer has to take out a new policy, it could be much more expensive than the existing policy. If you have any questions about this or anything else, I'm always just a phone call away. I'm Trisha Johnston with Ladder and Bloom, and I'll be back here next week with another real estate tip for you.
Hi folks, I want to tell you about Denham Springs Fit Body Boot Camp and their 28-day, $77 Jumpstart program. There's no strings attached and really no reason not to try. You can be in and out in just 30 minutes, and best of all, these 30-minute sessions are scheduled throughout the mornings and evenings to fit your busy schedule. These 30-minute sessions are fun, positive, encouraging, and you can even sign up online. Just visit getfitdenhamsprings.com. Denham Springs Fit Body Boot Camp, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. Every year, an average of 2.4 million weddings are performed in the United States. And of those, when brides are asked what they consider the most important aspect of their wedding, almost 100% say the dress. Our guest for today has spent nearly her entire life honing her skills for making the dress portion of a bride's wedding absolutely memorable. As a matter of fact, working with Natasha Marie Bridal, located in the historic Antique District in Denham Springs, is often described by her brides as an experience they remember for the rest of their lives. Today, I am blessed to have the owner of Natasha Marie Bridal, Natasha Miller, here, and we're going to not only learn more about her business, but the backstory behind this amazing lady. So with that, welcome, Natasha.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you. We're going to dive deep into your business today, all the amazing things that Natasha Marie Bridal offers in the way of the wedding dress experience. But first, we want to know a little bit more about you, and I want to read your About Me that you had. I loved it. It was very interesting. You said, I'm a Christian, a wife, a mother, a fashion designer, a bridal boutique entrepreneur, a leader, a team player, a chauffeur for my kids, and their biggest cheerleader. That's awesome. And that is a lot of hats, my friend.
Very many hats.
But, very well described, because business owners, all of us as business owners, we wear a lot of hats.
For sure.
I could not imagine being a mother and having that side of things and then your business side of things, because like you say, you chauffeur kids around, you do all those things. I have 3 myself, so I know how that is. Yeah. But my wife certainly picks up the brunt of the load on that. I'll be the first to admit that. Yeah. You started somewhere in life, right? Before you had a business, before you were an entrepreneur and all those things. And for you, it was early. You really picked up your love for design and sewing and all those things way early in life. When did you start?
So my grandmother taught me how to sew when I was about 10 years old. She basically just taught me how to use a sewing machine and gave me a box of her scrap fabric, and I stayed in her sewing room for a week that I visited her.
Fell in love with it right from the beginning.
Yes, yeah. And it skipped a generation. My mom does not sew. No, she does not have the patience to sew. But Grandma taught me, and I've been sewing ever since.
Wow. And so that was something y'all kind of did together. She taught y'all her little tricks of the trade, I guess you could say.
Just the basics, basically, until, fast forward to my college days.
Yeah.
I went to LSU for their apparel design program.
Yes.
Where I learned how to make my own patterns from scratch, and all the proper terms and all the proper ways to sew.
Wow. And it all started with Grandma.
It did.
Wow. And that must have been an amazing time. And what a great thing to spend time with her doing that, because that was obviously something y'all shared together, right?
Sure.
So amazing. So you mentioned LSU, which you eventually, your life led you that direction.
It did,
you studied apparel design at LSU, which in a crazy way, you ended up in China.
Yes. So while at LSU, there's a lot of opportunities within their design program. I went to China for a fashion field study where you got to see like the manufacturing end of things. We went to some design schools there as well. And it was a really cool experience.
How was that? A girl from Louisiana going all the way to China, and it's like,
I will say I almost wish I waited like one more year before I went. I went early in college, and so it was very eye-opening. Had I waited one more year, I would have gotten some of the education through my classes at LSU before going. But it was really cool. It was really cool. I got to climb on a very small portion of the Great Wall.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Very cool experience, yeah.
Awesome. You've done a lot of things in your life prior to owning Natasha Marie Bridal that kind of prepared you for Natasha Marie Bridal. You interned for a pretty famous New Orleans bridal gown designer.
Yes.
What was her name?
Suzanne Perron St. Paul.
Yeah.
She is a couturier in New Orleans. She also graduated from LSU in their design program. She lived in New York, I want to say, for like 13 years after that, and worked for quite a few designers, Carolina Herrera, Vera Wang, where she worked directly with them.
Even I know who Vera Wang and all those folks are.
Look at you, Jim. Yeah. And so she got, all that firsthand knowledge there in New York. And then I was fortunate enough to intern with her. She specializes in Mardi Gras ball gowns, which obviously has been put on hold lately with COVID, but she also does wedding dresses too. So I learned a lot from her for sure.
Very good point too. And people, when you think about COVID and all those sorts of things, a lot of people may not think about Mardi Gras gowns and all of those sorts of things that were affected. I mean, if you don't have the balls, you have no reason for the gown, right? Yeah. And so hopefully that will come back full circle and everybody will be rocking and rolling again on that front. Telephone, tell a friend, tell everyone if you have been to Look at Me 4D Imaging. They have been nominated for Baton Rouge Parents Magazine's 2021 Family Favorite. Voting began September 1st, but it continues through September 30th. Please take a moment if you're a watcher of my podcast and go vote for them. And the best news is you can vote once per day. Look at Me 4D Imaging is your one and only local 3D and 4D early gender determination ultrasound studio located right here in Livingston Parish. They are here for all of your before birth ultrasound needs. So check them out on the web at lookatme4dimaging.com and don't forget to vote. I'm going to include the link in the comments or the description of this podcast. Thanks so much. Now, also during your time at LSU, you were honing your skills as an entrepreneur. You were working for a boutique in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, shout out to Bustle Bridal Shop in Baton Rouge. I worked at Bustle as a stylist and eventually moved on to their manager position and a buyer. So I got to go to market with them and see the ins and outs of the bridal world. Yeah.
Yes, and the great thing about that is before you ever owned your own business, you kind of saw the ins and outs of owning that business, right? And
sure.
Not only that, but you were learning the skills that you would need to acquire in order to do all of those, wear all of those hats or do all of those jobs.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Because, the buying aspect of that, believe it or not, I worked at Dillard's many years ago. I did. I worked in the Ralph Lauren department, folded a ton of shirts and all of that sort of thing. But I learned kind of how to, match and things like that.
Yeah.
Learned a little bit of style. But the interesting thing was, even at a big corporation like that, they have their buyers and they have their department people and all those sorts of things. So you could kind of learn, if you progress through those ranks, different aspects of owning your own business. So it's important, you college students, that you work somewhere maybe that is related to your field.
Yeah, definitely.
You might actually pick up some tips you can apply, right?
Yeah.
So fantastic thing there. So you're rocking and rolling. You're honing those skills, and in 2010, you graduate from LSU, and you really wasted a bunch of time after that, waited a whole month before you started your own business, right?
Yeah, I graduated in May of 2010 and started my business in June of 2010. So, confession, Natasha Marie Bridal Boutique was not originally my plan. I went to college to design wedding dresses. That's something I've always wanted to do since I was a little girl. I'm a homebody, so all my people are here in Louisiana, so not a whole lot of fashion designers in Louisiana, so it just kind of made sense for me to start my own thing, and so I decided to do custom wedding dresses. So we had my dad and my husband built a little studio in my backyard here in Watson, Louisiana.
Awesome.
And brides would come to the studio, and they would bring pictures of different things they liked, and we would draw up a sketch, and then I would take a ton of measurements for them. Before even starting the dress, I would go to the mannequin, pad the mannequin to their measurements, then create the pattern, cut, sew a mock up. Their first fitting was in muslin fabric, a little bit less expensive, so I could get the fit down. And then they came back again after that when it was cut and sewn in the more expensive fabric. And then we started with placement of lace and different details like that. So I really got to know my brides through the custom wedding dress design business aspect.
Yes.
From start to finish, we had lots of fittings and definitely built relationships. So.
And you can tell you absolutely loved that part of it, because you totally light up when you talk about it, and really that's what business is about, is passion, and you have a lot of passion for what you do, and those beginnings, even out of a shop in Watson, Louisiana, you were the best kept secret in the world at that time.
I had quite a few brides say, I didn't know where I was going to get here. I had brides driving from all over, so it was kind of funny, yeah. That's
awesome. And then, so as I'm reading through Miss Natasha's questionnaire, I come across this big point. And so I'm going to tell all y'all this. In 2012, she actually designed the suit for Sapria Gendel's 2012 husband's 2012 inauguration, Bobby Gendel. And wow, that is major.
Yeah.
That's huge, y'all. And we have someone that was chosen to design the dress, suit, and you want to shout out.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that is hands down all thanks to my past professor through LSU, Lisa Barona McRoberts. Shout out to Miss Lisa. I don't know how she got the hookup, but she reached out to the Gendels or probably their assistant. And
They're people.
right.
They got people.
And asked if we could, as a representation of the LSU design department, design her ball gown and her suit that she would wear to the actual inauguration.
Yeah.
And this was right, I had already graduated at this point, obviously, but it was very last minute. It was a little nerve-wracking, but such a cool experience. We got to do the fittings all at the state capitol. So the first meeting, I was a little nervous, but once I got to see how humble Supriya is, then I just enjoyed the experience. So.
Yeah, she put you at ease.
Absolutely, yeah. So we did several fittings, and then the way it worked out, my professor did the ball gown, and I did the suit that she wore to the inauguration. Her favorite color is red, so it was a red color suit, very classic.
You have some pictures of that?
I do. I'll have to, I'll
yeah,
have to get
send
you
them
that.
to me.
Yeah.
And because one of the things we're going to do is we're going to have, as we're talking about certain things, they will pop up
Okay,
just like
cool.
on the news. Obviously, what you do is very visual. And so we want to do everything we can for people to see what we're talking about. So we'd love to get that and make it pop up as we're talking right now.
We'll make it happen.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, that's a huge feather in your cap, and it really speaks to your amazing talent. Obviously, your professor at LSU, they had a lot of confidence in you. You know, when you refer someone for anything, you only refer people you trust.
Sure.
Because you look bad if they do a bad job. So what a huge thing. But, folks, I want to impress that this person has been kind of in that life her entire life. Since she was 10 years old, she was sewing. So by the time you graduated, you were experienced. Yeah, you were ready. I mean, a month later, most people are like, I'm going to chill out for a little while. Nope, not Natasha.
No,
I'm ready to sew dresses.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
And I have to say that I couldn't do it without my support system. It takes a village. I'm sure you heard that time and time over, Jim. But my husband is great. He works hard. So fortunately, I had him to take care of us in the beginning so that I was able to, pursue my dream. And
absolutely.
now, especially, I thought having the boutique and switching to the boutique setting, maybe I could slow down and be able to do more at home. And I certainly can, but he helps me out. He helps me with the dishes and helps me
That's
with
a good
things like
man
that.
right
He
there.
is,
Do a
right?
dish.
So shout out to Robbie for that.
Yeah, shout
do it
out,
without
Robbie. Good job, brother. And I'll tell you, it's interesting. It's important, the support of your spouse and really the people around you in anything you do, with regard to business, because you don't need that added stress.
Sure.
You've already got, a business you're running and all these things. So it's a beautiful thing when they stand behind you and they say, hey, you go do your thing. And I had a dentist on here one time. It was so funny. Dr. Don St. Angelo at Advanced Dental Care. And he was here and he said when he was in dental school, his wife was kind of the breadwinner during that time. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, she was my sugar mama. I almost fell out this chair. Yeah. And I said, well, you're paying her back now. He said, no, she's still my sugar mama.
Love it.
Dr. Don, nothing like him. Fit blends of Denham Springs can help you with everything from meal prep to supplements. I love it that they serve breakfast all day in addition to the best ultra healthy wraps you can really get anywhere in Livingston Parish. They are home of the $5 Smoothie Friday and are an amazing sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. Fit Blends Denham Springs, fast, fit food for you. But yes, it's a very important thing, and just a beautiful thing that he would support you like that. So I'm glad you kind of brought that up. We're on the same wavelength there. And I asked you about your influences. I said, what are your influences? And you basically, I'm going to quote you because this was beautiful to me. You said, "Oh gosh, so many, but hands down, my two most influential people are my parents. My dad was born in Croatia, an oyster fisherman with a thick Croatian accent, and the hardest working person I know. I've watched as he has learned to be fluid in his business over the years and constantly adapt to changes. He taught me how to be a go-getter and a leader. He taught me how to work hard for people you love. As a child growing up in Croatia, then it was Yugoslavia, his dad worked his way to America for sometimes a couple of years at a time without seeing his family until he saved up enough to move the family there. That always stuck in my head with my dad. He has always wanted to be close to us, his family, ever since, and he has instilled in us how important family is." So I'm going to stop right there. That's huge. Yep. It's beautiful, really. And as a dad who has 3 kids, I can't tell you what it means for your dad to hear something like that. What a man to raise a daughter that thinks that way of him. And I always say sons love their mamas and daughters love their daddies.
Yes, for sure.
But what a big deal there with him. And I can imagine, people don't realize how hard it is maybe to come from another country and come to the United States.
Certainly, yeah. He didn't speak a lick of English. Now all of our cousins there, they start learning English early in school. So a lot of them are fluent. But he didn't know a lick of English. So when he moved here, there was another young boy his age that did know both English and Croatian. So that boy got to kind of mentor my dad, and they were in all their classes together. So that's how he learned English. They're in school, just
wow,
thanks to the help of another young boy. So yeah, I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Just going to school to learn new things is hard enough. Never mind the language barriers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's an amazing story.
So
what an amazing person.
He is. He certainly is.
And so Croatia, we can cut this out if we need to, but Croatia, is that where, isn't that where Tommy is from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I've never actually met him yet.
No, he's coming on the show. I'll have to have you by.
Yes,
he's a great person as well. Now, do you speak Croatian? Or is it Croatian that they speak?
It is Croatian. Okay. Not really. I know a few words. I understand more than I can speak.
Yeah.
But we visit, we still have family there. So we visit fairly often, and when we go, we go for a few weeks at a time. So usually by the time we come back home, I've picked up a few words again, and then you lose it. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and people are always like, "Why didn't your dad teach you?" And so I went through my phase where I was like kind of mad at him about it, And he's like,
"Teach me Croatian."
He's like, "Are you kidding?" He's like, "I work all hours of the day. I get home at 8:00 at night, and we sit down to eat supper together." And he's like, "I want to speak to you in a language you understand."
Yeah.
So
you got time to be teaching you the home language.
I can't get mad at that.
No, definitely not. So, eventually you ended up with what I would personally say is the perfect location for a bridal shop. It is in the Antique District in downtown Denham Springs. I guess my first thing would be why did you choose Denham?
Well, so back up a little to, we were doing the custom design thing.
Yeah.
That got really tough to manage. We have 2 daughters, and as they started growing up and moving around and getting more involved in things, it got hard. I did have several interns from LSU that would come and sew and get their credit, and then they moved on to other things.
Sure.
So, and I was very particular too about what help I had with the sewing.
Yes.
I wanted it to be done
Of
right.
course. Yeah.
So, the demand was there. Most of my business ran off of word of mouth. I stayed busy, but I was like a zombie. I would work during the day in between, feeding the kids or whatever. And then as soon as they're down for bed, I'm back in my studio until 2:30 in the morning. And I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So,
something's got to give.
Yeah. So eventually I gave in to what I knew needed to happen. And we switched to the boutique setting where the dresses in our store are not my designs. They're by other fabulous designers. My main hesitation with switching to the boutique setting was losing that relationship aspect of what I did.
Which is a huge part of your boutique
Yes.
in particular.
So I quickly learned that I still can have that relationship aspect.
Yes.
But denim, because I just, the timing for one thing, driving through the Antique Village, we went from time to time as a family, to look
Sure.
through the shops, and in the Selassie building. They're my landlords there. So shout out Selassie Jewelry.
Yes.
And they posted a sign that they had an opening at the same time that I was like, it was tugging on my heart that this is what we needed to do. And so it was just the right timing.
Hey ladies, it's Pate with Idell Lane Spa and Boutique, located in Walker. We offer all things skincare, hair care, makeup, spray tan, lashes, and more. And we have a full selection of clothes. And we also do private events from birthday parties, bridal showers, and more. So stop by today and get your queen on, making every woman a queen. See you soon.
Wow.
Which actually was after the flood, I need to note. And so that building looked nothing like it does now. They put a lot of work into it, and then my dad and my husband as well. But it still had like the dirt on the floor from having flooded. So my dad, the first time my dad walked in that space, he said, "You're going to put white wedding dresses in here." I'm like,
In that
okay, just trust me.
strong Croatian accent. I love it. But I'll tell you, you made it work.
Thanks.
Like obviously, you know what you're doing, and you know how to lay them puppies out. And the great thing about people when they're looking at businesses is they envision what they could be, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And so you did a great job there. What a perfect location. And I have a little story to that. Yesterday, I was in the Antique District area, walked past your building. As soon as I did, a young lady stepped out in a dress, not out of the building, but she was like in the window.
Uh-huh.
It was beautiful.
Aww.
And she looked beautiful. Thanks. The dress was beautiful, but it was, it's just boom. And there's this beautiful bride right there in the window looking out, and you can see, you can almost see on her face, it was a touching moment for her.
Yeah. Lots of touching moments in our space.
and I want to talk about that a little bit. I was wondering this, when I do podcasts, I talk to a lot of people about who I'm podcasting and kind of I get excited about these things, folks. And so I was excited about you. I was actually talking to my wife about this, and I said, I couldn't imagine doing a business of that high of stress from the level of this bride's biggest moment, since Absolutely. They were 2, they've been thinking about that wedding dress, right? And you are the person that facilitates that. And so everything's got to be perfect, and obviously it's life. Not everything works out perfectly, unfortunately, but you must be someone that it just has a way about you that you definitely have a comfort about you, but just a way of dealing with stress and dealing, you just you've got to have, what is it like? What is it like dealing with these brides are so emotional? And
so I jokingly tell my girls, like, this job probably should require a psychology degree. Not
at least a minor.
Yeah, right. Because everybody's like, "Oh, you have such a fun job," and it absolutely is fun.
Sure.
And we have the best job.
Yes.
Hands down. But it's a tough job.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell people that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, because those wedding dresses are heavy, huh?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, and it's a job to help the bride get dressed and undressed and carrying dresses back and forth to the racks, but emotionally." So I'll back up a little bit. When a woman gets engaged, she does one of 2 things first. She books her venue, and then she comes and gets her dress. Or sometimes they're so excited about the dress that they'll get the dress first, especially right now.
Yeah.
With COVID has certainly still been in effect, and it's affected venues, booking and stuff. So brides have learned it takes a while to get your dress in. 8 to 10 months out is ideal to order your
Wow.
dress. So they're like, I got to go get my dress so that whenever I find a venue, I at least have my dress.
Or even a man for that matter.
Well, yeah, that's kind of important too. So where we see the bride is so early in that wedding planning process.
Yeah.
And it's the first time, most of the time, it's the first time that, you know, they put a dress on, they look at themselves in the mirror, and it's all those emotions come out. All the emotions. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. And then they start thinking about all the things in their life that got them to this point. And there's, you know, happy moments, sad moments.
A lot of Kleenex in
A
it.
lot, yeah. And so we're there to guide them. It's so much more than just a dress. That's all. It's so much more than just a dress.
It's your slogan.
Yes.
Planet provides a full range of residential and commercial landscape services, including plant and tree installs, grading and drainage, patio paver and retaining wall installs, and much more. Reach out to them at 225-252-4905. Planet, they are a world apart and a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
It's, you know, we're there to guide them to find that dress, but there's so much more that goes into it. And I will say too, PSA, everybody's like, well, I haven't cried yet. Well, not everybody cries, but you know, so that moment when you find the one is, it looks a little different from bride to bride. Everybody's got a different personality,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah.
But you still, you work with that bride. The second they request an appointment, we're invested.
Yes.
We do a phone consultation before they come in. We get to know them. We get to know, you know, what they're thinking for the wedding, what's the venue, what colors, all that kind of stuff. And we get a feel for their personality before they set foot in the door.
Yeah.
And then once they get there, then it's, you know, the fun of picking dresses, but we're with them for a 90-minute appointment, and we're in there helping them get in and out of dresses. And we're talking about how'd you get here?
Yeah.
You know, tell me, how long have you guys dated before you got engaged? Tell me how did the proposal go? And so you really get to know that bride.
Wow.
And build that relationship. And so when that moment comes, you know her enough most of the time at that point to know the difference in her body language and everything. And it's just so reward. Like, it never gets old. It never gets old.
That's a beautiful thing. And, you know, I can only imagine the stories you know and have heard. And
For sure. Yes.
You know, all of those sorts of things. But one thing that sticks out with you is it's really all about the relationship for you.
Yes.
I see that. I get that out of what you're saying, and I see that out of your emotion. And I think that's why maybe you struggled a little bit when you had to pivot from sewing by hand all of these dresses
And
from
all
total
the
scratch,
fittings.
drawing, all the fittings. Is you felt like you might lose a little bit of that relationship. You didn't, but you felt like you might, and that bothered you.
It did. Yeah.
Folks, that's huge. That's huge. And it's very, it's all about the relationship. I agree 100% with you, but it's so hard to find people that really believe that deep down in their soul, right? Yep. Some places will just say you a dress. You want a V-neck dress or whatever, whatever y'all terminology you use, and they'll gladly sell it to you. You love that dress? Yeah, I love it. Okay, here you go. You're taking time to get to know who these people are way beyond a dress, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so from time to time, people are like, why do I have to have an appointment? And it's because it goes back to, it's so much more than just a dress. We are here to help. Most people have never been married before, and we're your first step in that wedding planning process. So we're here to guide you, and not just with the dress. We end up talking about, who's your photographer and who's this, and
Yeah.
And so we want to know your story from day one, the second you request that appointment, and we're learning all about you and why that dress is important for you to walk down the aisle to your person.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And so true. And, one thing that you will get out of your boutique is not only the perfect dress for you or their idea of that and your idea of that, but you're also going to get your network of people behind the scenes that maybe that's a less stress. If I don't want to use me, if my wife were not married to me and she went to get a dress or prior to marrying me, and she went there and that was the first thing she did. And she said, I don't know any venues. You're gonna kind of have some people you can refer. I don't have a hair person or whatever it is. You're gonna have those contacts. So that takes stress off of that bride.
Yep.
Maybe she's new to the area. Maybe she's marrying someone from Denham and she's from Michigan and knows nobody here. Those sorts of things. So you can help with all of those things, right?
I certainly can. Yes.
Yeah, but it all starts with that dress and the feeling you get when you walk in there, and these people are going to get to know kind of you because through your personality is probably how you help them choose a dress.
For sure, yeah.
And all of those sorts of things. But what an emotional experience going on there at Natasha Marie Bridal every day. You choose that location, you get there, and you're rocking and rolling with dresses, right? And folks, remember, this is back in 2010. She kind of started things off after she graduated from LSU. And so you've been through, how long have you been in the antique district?
In the antique district, we'll be there 4 years in December.
4 years. So that was right after the flood, pretty much,
Pretty much, like a year later, I think.
Yeah. And you're rocking and rolling through that. And then at some point, COVID kind of reared its ugly head. How was that for you?
So you talk to business owners all the time, and it's certainly a roller coaster ride. And we were, at that point, only a few years in, and, new business. It's a totally different dynamic than when I was doing custom. So it's a whole new set of people to reach and get the word out to.
Yes.
So we were, before COVID, we were already kind of like, oh goodness, this is looking tough. And then COVID, and certainly my stress level was like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
I will say though, we have been so blessed and so fortunate, because as you mentioned before, I know a lot of people in the wedding industry, in all aspects, from venues to photographers to hair and makeup artists and all of that. So weddings got put on hold. We were shut down for the whole month of April when COVID was really at its peak. And that was really hard.
Yeah.
And then we fortunately were able to reopen in May, and May 1st, the appointments kept coming in. So we did one appointment at a time. We steamed and sanitized dresses in between because at that point it was like, you had to clean everything.
Yeah, you don't know. Right.
So it was one appointment at a time, and we just, made it work. Fortunately for us in our, we're that first place the bride goes to, even brides that were eloping or having smaller ceremonies, once they could start having ceremonies again, they still wanted their dress because it goes back to that, it's about the emotion and how you feel that day. You still want that.
Yes.
You think about most girls think about their wedding since they were a little girl. So
sure.
We still were able to accommodate brides, and it's been great ever since. We have just really grown since reopening after the whole COVID thing. So
thankfully,
gosh, yes.
I tell people a lot on this show that one of the things, I try to find a positive spin on the worst situations, and one positive spin I'll put on COVID is that it definitely forced us as business owners to kind of pivot and come up with innovative ideas in which to market whatever it is we were selling.
Yeah.
And so some of those businesses, and I'll use fitness gyms as an example, a lot of them started doing lives online where they were working out online because they had to. It was the only way to continue business. And some of them are still doing it because they were like, wow, some people really like this.
Like it, sure.
So out of that came something that maybe they never would have tried otherwise. I mean, that's hard. It's hard to find a positive with COVID, but that was one thing was it did help people kind of innovate how they were doing things.
Got to be fluid as business owner.
Every 5 minutes. Yeah, you're right. And speaking of being fluid, so fashion trends change, right? What was popular, the deep V, look at that, another term that I knew. I don't know where I pulled that. But, the dresses, and I would imagine especially wedding dress trends change over time. Sure. Is it hard to keep up with? BJ Pawn and Gun in Denham Springs wants to buy your unwanted gold jewelry, gold coins, and gold bullion. With 30 years of experience operating in the Livingston Parish area, BJ Pawn wants to be your source when selling your gold. So stop by BJ Pawn today for a no-obligation offer. BJ Pawn, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
Not too hard. We've got a close relationship with our designers. They're on top of things, so they know what's to come. So, for example, we right now are getting new arrivals in that we ordered back in March.
Yes.
We just went to market, and so people think, oh, you're getting those dresses in already. No. The ones we just ordered at market, they won't be here till January.
Yeah.
So our designers work hard and, keeping on trend. And so when we go to market or when we look through their lookbooks of their new collection, we're able to stay on top of that. Fortunately, we do the trendy. We have something for everyone. We do the trendy, but we also do classics. So some dresses stick around for a long time and some not so much. But
yeah, I'm sure there are some dresses that are just classics that never go out of style, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
How about like trains? So trains, you see trains, Princess Diana's train, for example, a mile long, and then some people don't want a big long train. And so is that a trend kind of like dresses?
Yeah, they come and go. So when we first opened, we heard a lot of, I don't want a big train. I don't want a big heavy train. We had some people that did, but we heard most brides kind of didn't. And now we're starting to see everybody wants not everybody, but most of our brides want a long train, dramatic.
They start competing with each other. Oh, my best friend, hers was 6 feet. I want 6.5 feet. I can see that happening. So, we talked about those trends, and y'all do a lot of education yourselves. I don't know if you call it continuing education, but I'm sure there's
kind of, sort of, yeah. Yeah, there's different programs for bridal boutique owners and things that we right now with COVID, it's a lot of webinars rather than but certainly. Yeah, we stay on top of things. Yeah,
definitely a good thing. Now, I'm just kind of thinking about this from a guy's perspective, so I hope it's accurate. Do you get a lot of requests where people say, I have my grandmother's dress and I want to incorporate it somehow, or I have my mother's dress and I want to incorporate it somehow? And can you use some of the fabric, things like that?
Sure. So not so much now that we have the boutique, but actually when I did custom, about 50% of my brides were what I called heirloom redesign brides. So sometimes it was just a matter of removing a high neckline or taking off a puffy sleeve. And she would wear it either to get married in or sometimes just for the reception. Yeah. But sometimes we took dresses completely apart and then use those materials to build the dress from scratch. I have had some people ask lately. I did try to work one in when we were shut down from COVID, and that kept me busy for sure.
I bet.
But now that my littles are big and they're involved in everything, all the after school stuff, I haven't been able to work it back in yet. But yeah, I love that. I'm all about tradition and sentimental things. So I definitely love that. And we don't do alterations in-house. We refer out, but we can certainly help you come up with ideas of what you could do with mom or grandmother's dress, and our alterations, people that we refer to, they're great at.
Yes, and that's a huge benefit of you is that you know that side of it, right?
Yeah.
You're not just selling off the rack stuff. You know how to design a dress from the start. You just don't do a whole lot of that anymore.
Yeah.
But you certainly can educate.
Yeah. And
that's huge.
Some of our designers offer customizations. So we have some dresses that like a bride fell in love with the top of one, but the bottom of another. And so we made what was a ball gown into a mermaid shape. I say we, the designer that we represent, they made it in production. Not all the designers offer that, but a lot of times too, things can be changed up a little bit in alteration. So certainly with my background knowledge and then me educating my employees, my team, we're able to help guide our brides to say, well, hey, you can do that. If that's just that one thing they want to change, that's easy peasy. We order the fabric and we know who to send you to for alterations for that. So. Yeah.
And that's huge. That's something that you can't get just in any bridal boutique, much more than a salesperson and all of those sorts of things. So take us through, your services as far as I know you have accessories. Talk about the accessories you have.
Yeah, so we've got veils and hair pieces. We've got jewelry for the bride, so that's accessories wise. That's pretty much it. And then we sell wedding dresses, and we do have flower girls. When we first opened, we had so many other things. And it was just a matter of like, what works, what doesn't work, and what's like my thing and what's not my thing. Right. So we learned that, the dress and that's the biggest part for me.
Yes. That's what you love.
Yes, because that's what brings out the emotion. And then the finishing touches come, with it. So we cater to the bride. Yeah. We're here for the bride. And then I had to do the flower girls because I've got little ones. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't forget the flower girls. But you don't do prom dresses,
no,
things like
we
that.
used to. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's okay. William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast. I want to read another little quote from you. This one struck me big time because I don't think I could have articulated any better what you said. Oh, gosh. And it was your why statement.
Okay.
So I ask all my folks, the listeners of my show, they hear this every episode, but I ask them, why do you do what you do? Because that's important. So you said, I do it all for love, for the love I have for my husband and kids, to show my kids what hard work and dedication looks like for a job you love, to encourage our kids to be involved in extracurricular activities, to learn those life lessons that I did, and to be able to afford those activities, to show my parents that their efforts and their love did not go unnoticed, to hopefully leave a mark on my team, encouraging them to flourish and to celebrate the love of our brides share with their fiance. That's beautiful. And as I read that, I'm thinking, man, she's in Livingston Parish. And it's almost like you have done so many things and you're not old by any means. I mean, and you've already accomplished so much. And if I were to read this, did not know who you are or where you lived, I would think you're somewhere in LA or you're in New York City. Okay. Yeah. We're blessed to have you here.
Thank
honestly.
You. This is home. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah. And it's such a beautiful thing. So anybody out there, if you're planning on getting married, if you've had the thought of getting married sometime in your life, put Natasha Marie Bridal on your list. I don't think this is my personal opinion, but I don't think you could find someone more passionate about what she does. And hopefully people get that out of this episode. Now, You talked about leadership also in your questionnaire, and you said a leader exudes confidence and compassion and is someone who can remain calm under pressure. Amen. A leader is fluid, can adapt to change, and is teachable. Very important. And it's someone who constantly searches for a way to better oneself and better one's business. They recognize, celebrate, highlight team members' strengths. Big deal. And a leader understands that their emotions and attitude impact the behaviors of both the team and the customer. So let's talk about your team a little bit. How important are they to you?
They are the heart of Natasha Marie Bridal. We're a small team. We're small but mighty.
Yeah, tiny but mighty.
Yeah. And, from day one, I instill in them that I'm even getting tired of hearing it, that it's so much more than just a dress, right? Like your job's not just to sell the dress. So a lot of times, like when I'm interviewing somebody, they're like, what all, is the position? And, everything. You do everything. Everybody does everything, I am pretty much there all the time. And, I still take brides myself, I still want to be in on that. But our team, you can see it all over them. Like, when they invest that time with that bride, and then say that bride leaves, say, she loved the dress, but she just wanted to sleep on it or whatever. You can see all over them. It's like, they want that moment. They want to share that moment with that bride when she finds the one. Yes. And then, they remember their brides too. Yes. And it's exciting when their dress comes in and they come back and they want to be there for their pickup appointment and see how the rest of their planning has been going. And my team really loves what they do, and I'm very, very particular about who we hire on, because
as you should be. It's your name on the line, and what you've worked so hard for, and your team members that you've chosen are ones that you have faith in, and all of those sorts of things. And I don't know about you, but I struggle a lot with delegation. That's probably my biggest weakness in life, and I will always admit that. Is that I was never a great delegator, because I felt like it wasn't that I felt like I could do it better than anyone else, but it was my baby. And if there was going to be a mistake made, I wanted to be the one making it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's a hard thing that a lot of, especially driven entrepreneurs, struggle with is they just feel like they have to be in control of that situation. And I am the world's worst. I'll be the first to admit. So I want to talk about some of the thoughts of the people that have patronized, I don't know if that's the right word, but went to Natasha Marie Bridal and had an experience there, because that's what it is, right? It's an experience.
Yes.
It's not all about the dress. It's or not just the dress, as you say. We're going to talk about Brooke Kindler. Kindler. She says, you will not regret shopping at Natasha Marie Bridal. Both my sister and I bought our wedding dresses here. There's a nice referral, one sister to the other. Natasha and Paige made our experience a real fairy tale. This bridal boutique and their dresses are what dreams are made of, and I can't thank the staff enough. I feel like they're family now. Yep. That's what you want them all to feel like.
Yes,
and that's a beautiful thing. Lauren Fleck says Natasha Marie Bridal is an amazing bridal boutique. Her staff is super sweet. Her dresses are unbelievable, all caps. Not only does she have beautiful dresses, but the best selection of accessories and the cutest little white dresses for your wedding events. Highly recommend. Tori McDaniel. This was the first and only bridal boutique I went to find my dress. Natasha helped me find my dream dress. I highly recommend this bridal shop to any bride looking for a unique dress. I'm obsessed with the many lace dress options and friendly atmosphere. At the end of the day, how do we know how good of a job we're doing? It's because people say so, and they, we'll talk about social media for a minute and how important reviews are and things like that. Huge, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Next to word of mouth, social media has been huge. And we'll make 4 years in December, and we're starting to see, you brought up Brooke Kindler, so Brooke and Bridget, shout out to them, sister brides, got married one after another. And we're starting to see that where, my cousin got her dress here, or my sister got her dress here. Or we had a bride in the other day. Her friend came with her. Her friend had bought her dress from us. That friend's friend bought her dress from us. And that friend's sister-in-law was one of the last custom dresses I did before opening the boutique.
Wow.
So it's so awesome to see that.
It really is. And,
Makes my heart happy.
I love it. And a special thing about your boutique, and something I'm going to ask you to get me some pictures of, is you have like I wouldn't call it a museum in there, but you have like your sewing machine that your grandmother used. So
there's little touches of family history, here and there. And a lot of people don't even realize it when they come in. But my grandmother taught me how to use a sewing machine, and then she gifted me her original sewing machine, and it was the kind that like sat down into the table. So my bedroom, I needed a certain size table that could accommodate that, but also fit in my bedroom when I was in high school, or I guess middle school at 10, right? And
you were advanced. Nobody's judging.
So my grandpa made me a custom table for that sewing machine. And it's just a little table with some little legs that screw on it, that he stained and tried to match my furniture in my bedroom perfectly. But that's in there, and we have jewelry displayed on it, and people don't realize what it is, but it's just like it will never not be in there. I've got a little, I think it's like in France, a little scene of a dress shop, and it's a puzzle that my grandmother put together for me and gifted to me, actually when I started doing custom.
Yeah.
So that's on our walls. I've got some vintage sewing machines, vintage ironing boards. So we're in the Antique Village. So we combine something old, something new, and then our walls are a very misty ice blue. So we've got the blue.
Yeah.
I've also got my parents' cake topper in there.
Wow.
So yeah, lots of little
awesome.
personal touches. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's very important that we never forget where we came from
Yes.
and where we started, and those personal touches are constant reminders of that, right?
Yeah.
Stephanie Berthelot and the crew at SR Enterprise can handle it all, from sheetrock to texture to paint. Give Stephanie a call at 504-432-9284. SR Enterprise, where they spread the paint and you spread the word.
And then something new we're doing this year, my dad's an oyster fisherman. You mentioned that earlier in the show. And so we started giving an oyster ring dish to every bride that buys a dress from us as a little token of appreciation from my family. So the oyster is harvested by my dad. My mom cleans, polishes, paints it, and then we give it to them. So, and some of our brides are just as excited about that as their dress and their experience. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
what a nice touch that is. Yeah. Awesome. Miss Natasha, I was honored to have you on today. Believe it or not, we've been going almost an hour.
Oh, my goodness.
And I could talk to you 4 more hours, no problem. But what a beautiful business you have there. Let's tell everyone where you're located.
Sure. So we are Natasha Marie Bridal. We are in the Antique Village. Our address is 235 North Range Avenue, right here in the heart of Denham.
Yep. Right next to Selassie Jewelry,
That's
right past on the same side of the road. And you have a Facebook and a website that I'm going to be linking to the description of this video. So folks, you don't even have to write it down, just click. The interesting thing about that is you can make your appointment right there from the website.
Yes.
Also, you can go to the door if you're in the Antique Village and there's a deal there. You can scan it.
QR code, yeah.
QR code you can scan and make your appointment that way. So she makes it easy no matter what. You are appointment only for your brides, because you want to have that time just personal with them and nobody walking in and you're learning their story, much like I learned yours. I do want to tell the folks out there, look out for the People's Choice Podcast Awards coming on the 30th of September. We cannot thank everybody enough. We are nominated for a People's Choice Award for Best Business Podcast.
So
and we'll
awesome.
find out if we win via the live broadcast of the event. It'll be streamed on podcastawards.com. So look for that on the 30th. And also a friend of ours, Woody Overton, with Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, is up for 4 awards on that show. So that'll be exciting. These are both Livingston Parish folks. Obviously I am, and Woody as well. Now, speaking of awards, you're up for an award for Baton Rouge Parents Magazine.
Yeah.
For Best Bridal Boutique. So I'm going to link the link to vote also in this description. So all my listeners out there, I want you to go click the link. It is super easy. You can do it once a day, and you can go and vote for Natasha Marie Bridal for the Baton Rouge Parents Magazine Best Bridal Boutique winner. And no one is more deserving, in my opinion. So we're going to get all the listeners out there of Local Leaders Podcast to click, and super easy. Once a day you can do it. Let's make it happen for these LP businesses.
Please vote.
I love it. So thank you again for coming on. Did you have fun?
I did. I had a blast.
That's what
And I
it's
have
all
to say,
about.
shout out to my mama.
Yes, shout out to your mama.
I give a shout
her
out to my daddy and my
Yes.
husband. My mama, she's my best friend, and she is my biggest cheerleader.
Your
for
biggest
sure.
cheerleader. Absolutely. So shout out, mama. You did a great job. And I'm sure you're very proud of your daughter, who's up here right now on Local Leaders and just promoting her business and doing her thing. And we're going to send you all kinds of people. So proud of you. I want to thank everyone out there for viewing and listening to Local Leaders. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share us on all your social media platforms. Thank you to our sponsors, including Trisha Johnston Realtor, BJ Pawn, Fit Blends, Denham Springs, Planet Landscaping, Black Sheep Creative, SR Enterprise Painting, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance, Adele Lane Spa and Boutique, Look at Me 4D Imaging, Milestone Title, and Fit Body Boot Camp. We could not do any of this without all of you. If you'd like information on sponsoring or appearing, reach out to me at jim@localleaderspodcast.com. Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman, reminding you, love your community, support local business, just like Natasha Marie Bridal, and keep leading. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Dane Arnold with iTrade Exchange has been enabling small business in the Livingston Parish area to save cash through his network of over 300 participating Livingston Parish businesses. Saving cash by trading services with other exchange members is what iTrade Exchange is all about. For more information, contact Dane Arnold at 225-205-3640 or visit iTradeExchange.biz.
Hi everyone, this is Representative Buddy Mincy Jr. I represent the Denham Springs and Walker area, and I'm here today to talk to you about a very important topic. According to the 2020 census, Louisiana is the third hungriest state in the nation. This means 1 in 4 children are living in a food insecure home. Food insecurity is, simply put, a lack of access to affordable and nutritious food. Livingston Parish Public Schools have over 26,000 students, and approximately 7,825 of those students fall under the definition of food insecure. This is why Mighty Moms started the Full Tummy Project in 2010. For more information on Mighty Moms and the Full Tummy Project, visit mightymomsgo.org and find out how you can sponsor a child for the 2021 school year and help us end childhood hunger in our community.